So you see here, we don't lament, we bring solution and we explain it to you. So when we bring the issues to you, it's just to point them out to you for you to know what is going on. Then we bring Nina's video to point you to where the solution is located so that you will stop losing your loved ones in the name of one Biafra, one whatever, whatever. No, you do not need to lose your life. Women, you do not need to lose your husband because we are looking for freedom. No, we've told you that the work that Nina has done is going to bring freedom to every indigenous person. You just follow instruction, just follow guidance. That's what we say. And as daughters of the land, especially from Igbo land, it breaks our hearts when we hear that this person has been assassinated, this person, this that blood there, it breaks our hearts because we are bringing life, not death. That thing you heard, Biafra or death, is a scam. It's a scam the way the churches are preaching whatever they are tithe and offering to you and in name of the Lord. Please share this video. Let it get to our people. You do not need to die anymore. You do not need to lose your husbands, your children for any scam. Some people are living abroad. They send your children to go inside the evil forest and do whatever they're doing. Please, we are begging you. Please, please, do not turn our land into chaos. We beg you. Come closer. Come and be informed. Come and be equipped. Then you will know what to do. You don't need to lose your life for self-determination. It is your right. But there's a way it has to be done. There is a process. There is the right formula. Thank you.
Or those who say they want good governance. You can't have good governance or rule of law under a constitution that render both impossible. And so it is an aggregation of all of those desires that, we say, here is a mechanism for making it happen. And so taking down that constitution that emplaced the union and imposed the terms of the union, the confiscation of our sovereignty, the 36 state structure, the 704 local government area that's become a tier of government without any discussion, the 38 terms of exclusive lists that that seize all everybody's economic assets and the power to work those assets. Those are all the things that are contained in that constitution. So every single thing you suffer is coming from that constitution before any other factor. So if you were there crying about your resources that are seized by Nigeria, it is that constitution. If you are there crying about the killings happening to you in the Middle Belt, it is that constitution that make it impossible for you to organize your security. You can't touch gun, arms and ammunition on that exclusive list. Or you are talking about bad governance and corruption, it is that constitution that creates everything. The sections are all there for everybody to see. And so 75% of the task was in taking down that constitution. And we had to undertake that component. The other ones are 5% that goes into how we can create the consensus, the cohesion, the internal cohesions we needed across the broader blocks that make up Nigeria. Like in the lower Niger, you see that there was the Biafra challenge, and so you couldn't tell whether the Ijaw was happy to be with the Ogoni and the Igbo and all of that. The cohesion we needed to create internally, get them to sit down and discuss their challenges and how they were going to come out of it together. That was 5%. It was a lot of work. So it's 5% of the overall task. Because if you didn't sort out that, everything you are doing to try to put anything in any particular direction, because it's the oil that keeps Nigeria together as at now. If you don't find some way to make it something that to bring a proposition that will settle everybody's headache, you are wasting your time. So in that part of the country, cohesion. Then the alliance had to be one to exclude the people who are invading everybody. And so the multi-regional alliance of the South and the Middle Belt, which then became this NINAS, in the face of the Sharia that was imposed, in the face of the feudalism that was there all the time. We've seen how it played out. At every point in time, check who created all the states and all the local government areas and who imposed this constitution of 1979 and 1999. You will find their address in that portion, that is in yellow color in the map below, behind. And so it was always that enemy imposing what will serve its own purpose. And so we needed to create an alliance of that's another 5%. The one of the lower Niger, the Midwest, and the Eastern region as nationalities was 5%. The one of getting the East, the West, and the Middle Belt to work together against the invader caliphate was another 5%. And then we go to the question of the international. What would the international stakeholders in the affairs of Nigeria? What would they do? We saw it in 1967. We saw what they did. It was all about oil. Let's kill off the owners, and all of us will own and share forever. Go on, signed up for them for 50 years. You can own it. Give us, the surplus from your profits, in operating it. That was what Gowon signed for them. And that was what prevailed until we don't know what Buhari had done with them. That was why they had to get rid of Jonathan. We're saying that international, the international stakeholder community, we found a way to get into, sitting down with them. At the UN, we were able to get the instrument that dealt with self-determination in 2007, right after Pronaco. I had the privilege of requesting Professor Wole Soyinka to go to Kofi Annan, and between the three, himself, Kofi, and myself, that had to suggest what could be done. That instrument came out. The reason we are giving all these details is that all these many years that we had to do all these many things, it was like submarine. We had to operate the enemy. It would have been dangerous to allow the enemy to know where it was all going. So they didn't see. And it was in concealing it from that enemy that most of our people who did not pay attention to know that something was going on. You hear most of them say, it seemed they missed what we were doing because they didn't see the masses rioting on the street around our propositions. Now we have done all of those things, the 75% that had to do with taking down the constitution, practically completed. That's why the government is running around now to replace the constitution. What other way do you want them to say that the constitution is being defeated? So that you see the National Assembly saying they're going to write another constitution. You see Fakbonda and his principal, Tinubu, banding around some dummy they want to sell to you. The important thing is that they now all acknowledge, they all now realize that the constitution, Emeka Anyaoku say the constitution is illegitimate. Acknowledgement has happened. It can become formal when they make an announcement the type South Africa made in 1990. And so where we are now is that there's only one lot of, what is left is the part that involves the public. The part that involves the populace, because at the time we were dealing with the one of taking down the 1999 constitution, the Pronaco you all saw. It was those who had to come. The nationalities were, approached, and they came as they were represented, and the processes led to the draft that came from it. That became the benchmark for initiating the challenge against the 1999 constitution in 2007. You remember the suit in which Nohoro, Soyinka, Ojukwu, Ono, and 6 other people were plaintiffs. It fell on me to file that suit. And so these were the things that were being done quietly to prepare the ground for this joint jailbreak that we are now heading to. There was the eminent declaration of June 30th, 2011, by which the nationalities were mandated to go and prepare their positions, their charters, their draft constitutions in readiness for referendum that will come. Because the matter of reworking Nigeria, reconstruction of the damaged constitutional basis of Nigeria into independent units of successor sovereign states, or a confederation, a loose confederation, or even a proper federation in which the units will have their constitutions and be in charge of their affairs while federating. These are the things that we targeted. These were the options. But the people who by referendum decide the degree of autonomy they wanted. So June 20th, 2011, the nationalities were mandated to go in the formations they have already made out to go and make out their constitutions. And then as they began to work, they had to come to solemn assemblies by which they announced to the international community that they were fed up with the Nigerian unitary arrangement and that they would rather go off on their own if Nigeria will not come to discuss with them. So on the 27th of April in 2015, the nationalities of the Lower Niger, that's the old Eastern region and Midwestern region, the nationalities there, the Jaw, the Anang, the Efik, the Ogoni, the Ebdo, the Igbo, all of them to Ogoja, were gathered in Port Harcourt to, in their solemn assembly to declare their desire to, to assert their self-determination. In 2017, September 7, at the Adamas Stadium, you all remember, in Ibadan, the Yoruba Solemn Assembly. Then the Middle Belt, so in the Emergency Assembly of Makurdi, July 18, 2018. So the three blocks you see in the MNN, in the NINAS Alliance had, by solemn assemblies, repudiated the 1999 Constitution and declared their intention to assert their self-determination in an orderly form. Then December 11, 2018 was a Freedom Park proclamation. Then the constitutional force majeure that came December 16, 2020. That was the 75%. All of this were done to set the basis, to set the stage for the decommissioning, the forceful decommissioning of the 1999 Constitution in a manner that does not become Somalia first. And so that has been performed. The one of creating the internal cohesion, the 55% of all the other things we told you before have been completed. And so we have come now to inform everybody that what is left is for the public is for the populace to come in and do their part. The populace is now to connect with what has been done and do their own part. There are only two things left now. That process of connecting the populace to what has been done will take the form of explaining to them four things that will bring them to relate with the NINA's 5-point proposition, something that can deliver them from the monster called Nigeria in a matter of weeks or months from now, if they pay attention. The first thing they need to know is that all their problems flow from that constitution. Whether it is hunger that is tormenting you, or killings that is happening around you, or any kind of thing, or the electricity you don't have, or the roads you don't have, or the welfare that the corruption you see, the impunity that compounds it, everything happening to you flows from that constitution. That's item one. The solution to your problem, every other thing you are told is a deceit, is a lie. The solution to your problem is the termination of the life of that constitution. That's item two. Item three is that it is by election that oxygen that gives life to that constitution is delivered, and you are the one who has to deliver it. And so shutting down further national elections under that constitution is the mechanism for taking down that constitution. We need to understand that very clearly. So everybody who comes to invite you to come to go to election with them is inviting you to come to renew your damnation. So if you are being slaughtered, you'll be slaughtered some more. Look back since 1999, whether there's been anything that improved for you.
Nope.
But the people who come to invite you every 4 years, look at their own lives. They've abandoned you. They live in another world where they share in billions, where you can feed. And so election every 4 years is the mechanism by which you reinforce your own damnation, your own calamities. And so Ninas is saying you need to understand that you are the one who goes to do that you remember the turtle on the pole. There's no how the turtle gets to that position if you do not lift it from the ground. You as voter, you as the one that goes to get PVC to vote at the election, you are the one who has to select among the turtle, whether it's turtle P2B or turtle Tinubu or turtle Atiku. You are the one who has to select the turtle you take up to the poll. But once they get to that poll, that constitution already settles what is going to happen to you.
Right.
It has settled what they're going to gain. That's why they come to prostrate for you before the election. But the day after the election, they shut you down and remind you that your life is not as important as that of the president. That was what I was telling the people who are quarreling about buying a new presidential jet in the midst of this hunger. And so it is in your hand 100% to go to renew the life of that constitution one more time. You've done it 6 times. You did it 99, you did it 2003, you did it 2007, 11, 15, 19. You did it again in 2023. Look at the outcome. Look at the people who invited you to that foolishness. See where they are, sharing their benefit. Look at where you are, looking for money to feed, and running between kidnappers and terrorists and all kinds of things. That your life is upside down. Your currency is in free fall. They don't care because they have theirs in dollars. Anyhow, they gather the billions, they turn it to dollar. Them and their children are flying around the world in their private jets. And so election, shutting down the journey to election, because no matter who wins, all the political parties subscribe to that constitution that render you slave. That's where the key is, to shut down the possibility of any election. And we're not talking about boycott here. Boycott is on the day of voting. We're saying inside 2024, you must now join in saying that you will not go to renew the life of that constitution by another election in 2027. You have to say so loudly that the political parties will begin to close shop where you are. Don't allow them start the discussion. For who amongst the wicked subscribers to 1999 constitution, whether they're of PDP or of APC or Labour Party or ABGA, all of them subscribe to that constitution. It is then you who have to decide whether you want to go and aid them for the 7th time to renew the life of that constitution, so that you remain in your misery while they continue to climb in their opulence. And so that's the number 3 thing you have to bear in mind. We already said all your problems flow from that constitution. The solution to your problem is to shut down the life of that constitution. The mechanism for doing that shutting down is to shut down the possibility of another election, so that we can go and solve this problem, or we dissolve the union. Some will say, election in 2027, how do we shut it down now? Item 4 you need to know is that you must now demand a transition for union reconstruction. You must now demand, in place of election, that is what you have to mount your rooftops and proclaim to the hearing of the whole world. That's what the whole world is waiting for you to do now. To say you reject this constitution, therefore you are not going to another election under it, and therefore we must go to transition now to solve this union dispute. Otherwise, the union is in dissolution. You must say it. Just say it.
How?
We've not asked you to go and get AK-47. We've not asked you to go and do riot so that you get killed. If you refuse to listen to what will solve the problem, and you continue in the foolishness of going to renew your enslavement, your bondage, and all the things that you see in the midst of it, it will be your choice. It is when you know these 4 things that you can now relate properly with the 5-point proposition of Ninas. What are those 5 points? You remember, the first one we say the union, the country, those operating in Nigeria must now acknowledge the union dispute. That is, that there are grievances across the land that have become a dispute that must now be resolved. That's item 1. Does that not connect with the first thing? Item 2 in the 5-point demand is that constitution must now be decommissioned wholesale. It has to become your demand, not Nina's demand. Item 3, no further national elections. It must become your demand until the government goes to do what South Africa did in 1990 with apartheid, by making an announcement that they are going to solve the problem. And item 4, that it has to be according to what Ninas wrote in that 5 points, to say it is the owners of sovereignty, not the government, not the National Assembly, not Benjamin Kano, not Fakwahunda, that will write. You have to sit down as the owners of sovereignty to decide what you do. And then you insist on a time-bound announcement for how and when. The Ninas proposition is the only proposition on the table today in Nigeria that identifies clearly what the problem is, what the solution is, when the problem will be solved, how the problem will be solved, and who will do what and what in that solution. There's no other proposition that can answer those 5.
Yep.
I would think that if we dress back and pay attention, we can be out of this calamity in a matter of 2-3 months. We stop there. Thank you.
Odogwu. Odogwu Agbene Chamber 1. Or get it out. My dear, when I know that I have somebody like Tony, I did dance in the spirit. Hey, idea. IGDOP.
Yes.
My brother GDOP, he's so articulate. So let those that are running inside the bush here go and run. And we're not here to chase that around. We are evidence-based on what we are doing, bounded by so much information that we're not going to have a motor park discussion, meeting discussion, beer parlor discussion. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. Come and engage us on a higher level of thinking. And it's not something that you will do magomaga and it will happen. Guess what? You have to do the work. You have to do the work. The brain work before it will start changing. Word without end. You'll be burning money, spilling blood. Every unimaginable things will be happening. And then the other day I was at the store, I saw God buying Okwanake. That's why he doesn't hear all this blackmailing. Because when you're chewing Okwanake, my dear, it makes so much noise in your ears and nose, you can't hear anything.
Yep.
When you stop deceiving yourself, the video is there. I am going to post this video. That should be your Bible. If you continue to give your money to your criminal pastors, he will come and tell you, I don't know why they take your money. It's supposed to go to the poor.
Oh my goodness.
What is this?
Nothing I've not seen.
Akpọrọ ndị be anyị na-aga na merry-go-round. Anyị a na-eti mkpu since. Na-etiri ndị be anyị mkpu since ụmụada Chineke nyere unu ka ha gbara unu ama. Ndị na-eme anya ukwu a na-eme anya ukwu. Ndị na-eme they want to be seen. They want to be heard. We want freedom for our people. Ndara.
Yes.
Don't you get it? 5 years of saying the same thing. Haven't we remained consistent and persistent? Have we sold anything here to you? That one. I'll allow my sister to go on.
Yes, my dear. Ndi nasa is an answer. Open confession. The things we've been saying. Please take this video. Those from Yoruba land, our brothers and sisters from Yoruba land, share this video with Mayogu Diary. I heard him say he doesn't know what to do. Hey, wait, this one is capping. That one happened like this. What do we do? Lamentation. Not in 2024. If you are educated, if you have found yourself living somewhere abroad, by now you should have known that everything has a process. Lamentation is not part of it. I don't know what to do. What do we do? And then millions of people are following you, and you're clicking them.
They want to be making money on YouTube while you're acting as if they're trying to do something.
It's so heartbreaking. Share this video with him. Even if it's just the 5-point agenda, just this Nina's video, that he was able to bring himself down to listen. I don't know whether they're high on any drugs, because if you're not high on something, this whole thing is very easy to understand. Then you explain it to the shippers that are following you. Very simple. This assignment is very simple. You know what? The way we are warning people, sending out our alarm, now the church people can't hide anymore because truth is out. So they're all coming from all angles to confess. That's what will still happen to those of you creating content with the blood of our people in the name of you're supporting them for freedom. When you don't know where they're going to, people that are leading our people into evil forests, that's what you will share. You will be disgraced eventually, because that's what truth will do to you. Eventually, you will go and watch those videos and be ashamed of yourself. Remember, internet does not change. It doesn't lie.
It does not forget.
It doesn't forget, exactly. Internet does not forget.